let us understand why exactly Donald Trump wanted a regime change in Venezuela. So the first and foremost factor was that he viewed Nicolas Maduro's election in 2018 as illegitimate and rigged. So according to him, the elections were not valid. There were malpractices that were involved in the 2018 elections. And the second factor is that he framed Maduro as part of broader socialist threat. So according to Donald Trump, the Maduro government is an example of failed socialism in Venezuela, and that was also one of the factors why Donald Trump wanted a regime change in Venezuela. Now, another factor was that he accused Maduro of authoritarianism and also human rights violations. So Donald Trump has accused that during the elections also the opposition voices were suppressed, the critics were jailed, the media was controlled by Nicolas Maduro. These were the allegations by Donald Trump against Nicolas Maduro, and that is why he wanted a regime change in Venezuela. Now, another factor is that he blamed Maduro for Venezuela's economic crisis and ripple effects. So under Maduro's rule, there was hyperinflation in Venezuela, and there was mass migration as well, and that is why the economic crisis was also one of the factors that Donald Trump has stated. Another factor is that he saw Maduro as hostile for his ties with Russia, China, Iran, and Cuba. So Maduro had friendly ties with Russia, China, Iran, and Cuba, and that particularly did not go down well with Donald Trump, the US president. Now, another factor is that he viewed Maduro regime as cradle of drug trafficking and smuggling. Remember, that is one of the biggest allegations that Donald Trump has been putting against Nicolas Maduro. In fact, he reiterated after the airstrikes also that the drug cartel by Nicolas Maduro has finally come to an end with this move. Now, meanwhile, global tensions are rising following what Venezuela's government has called an imperialistic attack by the United States. The Ministry of External Affairs has advised all Indians to exercise extreme caution. Citizens are urged to stay in contact with the Indian Embassy for guidance and updates amid ongoing developments. The international community has reacted strongly. Russia has condemned the attack and called for an urgent UNSC meeting, while China has strongly condemned the use of force against a sovereign nation. Brazil has warned that violations of international law risk global violence, and Colombia has urged respect for international law. Cuba has called for urgent international action, and Chile has emphasized that foreign interference is not the solution, and Mexico has condemned the military intervention in Venezuela. The strike has sparked a global outcry, with world leaders urging restraint and also highlighting the need to uphold sovereignty and international law in these tense times. And my colleague Rohit Sharma continues to stay with us. He's live with us from Washington. Rohit, the world has also now reacted, with some countries opposing this move by the United States. They're condemning and they are urging that the international law must be followed and must be kept in mind.
Yeah, look, I think most of the nations in the world would not want to have this become a new norm in how people deal with disagreements, right? And I think that's one of the reasons we've seen some of the nations, including Russia and China, come out and essentially talk about how this was, this was not the way forward, and they've condemned it, they've opposed it. Russia has also called for the release of Maduro and his wife. So I think, there is the sense of, is this a new norm? Can big powers like Russia and China and the US do this on their own? We've already seen how President Trump's national strategy document lays out and kind of, splits the world into spheres, the Western sphere, which is what President Trump also talked about. So are we moving towards where all these powers can do what they believe in? By carrying out such operations, by removing people in power that they disagree with, in this case, airlifting a sitting president of a country. So I think that's why we've seen the opposition. We also know now that there's going to be an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council on Monday, which was, initiated by Colombia, and we'll probably see that meeting. And we'll see some of these statements again reiterated at that meeting. So I think there is that sense of fear in some of the analysts that this should not become a norm going forward, because then we'll be living in a very unstable world, which nobody wants to. But at the same time, Yes, President Trump gave the orders for this operation. America had, I mean, in this administration, President Trump and his administration has been planning to do this for a while. But I think the disagreement with Maduro has been going on for more than 14 years. I think it was President Barack Obama who first, condemned how elections were held in Venezuela, how Maduro consolidated power. He's been called dictators by previous U.S. presidents, also, including Biden and including President Trump in his first administration. So I think the general sense in America was that Venezuela, the leaders, at least in Venezuela, were getting close to with the Chinese, with the Chinese influence. We've already shown that there was a meeting literally 12 hours before Maduro was captured. Maduro was meeting with the Chinese delegation in Venezuela. So I think President Trump made it pretty clear
All
that that's
right.
one of the reasons why they wanted to have Maduro gone, and we'll see what happens next.